So yesterday, Reggie Bush announced his retirement from football. This made me think, damn, I'm getting old. But also it made me ask the same question we ask when any notable athlete retires. What's his legacy? How will Reggie Bush be remembered? And this question that I asked at 2 a.m. this morning led me down a rabbit hole that would eventually become this video. See, most of us have the fondest of memories of Reggie's USC day, but USC themselves chooses not to remember. I mean, they pretty much blackballed him due to the sanctions that they received. But now that Reggie's retiring, is it time for USC to forgive Reggie Bush? I think so. And by the end of this video, maybe you will too.
Yeah, you'll never know quitter, 'cause I'ma go get her.
So you ever watch 30 for 30 or any sports documentary that talks about players of the past? As the guy sits there with absolute certainty in his eyes, he explains to you why whatever guy he's talking about was the greatest, the fastest, the biggest, the toughest, the strongest, the meanest. There's nothing you can say to convince that guy that what he's saying is not 1,000,000% factual. And you sitting there, you become enamored with the story. He'll say something like, he jumped up to intercept the ball and he hung there for 5 whole seconds. He hit the guy so hard, his body levitated and left the ground. You be like, damn. So you go to YouTube and look up the highlight, but when you find it, you're left with a major sense of dissatisfaction because you realize that the nostalgia of the moment has created a sensationalized view in that guy who was describing his head, and his and others' rose-tinted glasses has created a legend that doesn't quite live up to the actual facts. And in the case of Reggie Bush, I may be slightly persuaded by this nostalgia because yeah, I never attended a game, but I watched a bunch of them live on TV, and just during that time, it's the greatest thing I ever seen. Even now, going back and looking at the footage, in my opinion, the actual facts do line up to the legend. I mean, Reggie was one of the most impressive college football players I ever seen. The most exciting college football player I've ever seen. And while I know we'll get a bunch of fast running backs commented in the comments section who were better than Reggie, Reggie's raw speed was not the source of his power. Sure, he ran a 4.340, but his suddenness, his change of direction, his quickness, agility, his all-around body control, and dare I say, his imagination. This dude was legit playing a video game on the actual field. I mean, how many football players do you see even attempt half of this stuff? Stopping on a dime, bing, changing direction with the most fluid of running style. Like if football video games had running back packages, 95% of speed backs would have a Reggie Bush run package. And that's facts, I don't care what you say. Still today, USC acts like Reggie never existed. They took down his jersey, took down all the pictures of him, all his records were vacated, and he even gave his Heisman Trophy back. And he's the only Heisman winner in the history of the award to have done this. Even though tons of Heisman winners have committed, you know, actual crimes, like O.J. Simpson. Granted, this was well after his USC day. I remember Johnny Manziel had a similar situation. Better yet, Johnny Rodgers, who won the award in 1972. Johnny Rodgers was actually convicted of robbery in 1971, and he did play football for Nebraska that year, 1971. Next year, won the Heisman. Now that was a long time ago, and Reggie gave up his award on his own, but it is many people's opinion that had he not given it up, it would have been taken from him anyway. And it sucks, but is it fair? Technically, yeah, he broke the rule. But USC didn't excommunicate Reggie because he broke the rule and gave back his Heisman. They excommunicated him because of how it affected USC. Now, we're going to get into it, but in case you didn't know, Reggie was accused of accepting what the NCAA called lavish gifts from 2 sports marketers who were hoping to sign him. They hooked him up with hotel stays, new suit for the draft, limousine, and the biggest thing was a rent-free home that Reggie's family stayed at during a big chunk of the time he was at USC. Now, depending on where you stand on the whole player should be paid thing, you might be on either side of the fence here. Just so you know where I stand as far as that, I am one of the people who believe that the rule that players can't make any money off their likeness is completely unfair. With all the money and baloney flying around, TV deals and merchandising, man, transcendent players like Reggie Bush and Tim Tebow and Vince Young undoubtedly brought tons of money to their schools and conferences, yet were unable to receive any of it. And in Reggie's case, when he did receive these perks, he lost his Heisman, records, his school blackballed him. Like, the punishment was crazy. But regardless to how you feel about that topic, it's really irrelevant in this particular case, because that's not why USC has communicated. It was because of what happened to them. They lost 30 scholarships, and they got a 2-year postseason ban. The school's athletic department got 4 years of probation, and USC was forced to vacate victories from December 2004 all the way through the 2005 season, including their national championship win versus Oklahoma. Now, the reason the NCAA was able to hit USC like this is not solely because of Reggie. NCAA investigators have stated the only way USC will be able to be hit with sanctions is if a staff member actually knew about Reggie receiving the benefits. This is where running back coach Todd McNair comes in. The NCAA says Todd McNair knew about the benefits. Todd McNair says he did not know about the benefits. NCAA has the power in that situation. So basically what they say, go. After USC was hit with the sanctions and Todd McNair lost his job, he later sued the NCAA. Now he's suing them for defamation. If Todd McNair ends up winning this lawsuit, and I'm gonna tell you in a second why there's a chance that he might, but if he wins it, it would mean that the NCAA defamed this guy, made him lose his job, not to mention he has not been able to get hired onto another coaching job ever since then. That was in 2010. So I don't know what he's been doing for the last 7 years, but that was his last coaching job. He almost got on the NFL with the Cardinals in 2013, but somewhere toward the back end of the process, they came back and was like, nah, I can guarantee you that had everything to do with this Reggie Bush situation. Now, the court threw out some parts of the lawsuit, but they kept the defamation part. And I ain't gonna bore y'all with too many details, but this lawsuit got kind of crazy. So the Los Angeles County Superior Court judge, Judge Frederick Schaller, actually ruled that emails from the NCAA committee discussing the case tend to show ill will or hatred toward Todd McNair. The judge went as far as to label the conduct of the two individuals as malicious, basically saying they had a vendetta out for Todd McNair and or USC. Now, there's a whole bunch of appealing and different things like that. Y'all know how these court cases go. But at one point, the NCAA got Judge Schaller taken off the case. Why? Well, it turns out he's a USC alum. So the NCAA moved to disqualify him because of a perceived bias. And he was initially removed, but through another appeal, he was put back on the case. So now he's back and he's probably pissed. I mean, he didn't say none of that, but he's probably pissed. What the court ended up doing was, in 2015, they brought in a 3-judge panel to review the case. So no biases, nothing like that. Brought in 3 neutral judges to review the case. That panel of judges upheld Schaller's original ruling. Here's what they said. This evidence clearly indicates that the ensuing NCAA Infractions Committee report was worded in disregard of the truth to enable the NCAA committee to arrive at a predetermined conclusion that USC employee McNair was aware of the NCAA violation. McNair established the probability that he could show actual malice by a clear and convincing evidence based on the committee's doubts about his knowledge, along with the committee's reckless disregard for the truth about his knowledge, and by allowing itself to be influenced by non-members to reach a needed conclusion. So in a nutshell, they're saying that it's likely that the NCAA already had a predetermined conclusion going into the investigation, which caused them to disregard the truth in certain instances and not do a fair and thorough investigation. So at this point, the trial is gonna happen. The date has been scheduled for April 2018. If Todd McNair wins the case, it means he had no knowledge of the Reggie Bush violations, and since the NCAA punished USC based on McNair's knowledge that he may or may not have had, that makes this Reggie Bush situation even more messed up, and it's even more of a reason, in my opinion, for USC to go ahead and forgive Reggie Bush. It seems like this thing was way deeper than one player. And looking at what he did for the school, the tons of USC fans that he created, it sucks that he hadn't been welcomed back to that place. Apparently, a lot of former players feel this way as well. Former USC tackle Sam Baker made this statement. The way he's been blackballed there, I hate it. You didn't see that happen at Ohio State or other places where there were sanctions. I'd love to see Reggie welcome back. It's ridiculous that he hasn't been. Another former player, Alex Holmes, said, the school needs to make things right with Reggie. Get his photos back up, get him back in the record books. For us, almost unanimously, we've seen things that have transpired at other schools, and all those places got a slap on the wrist. But there you go. What's your thoughts on the Reggie Bush situation? Is it time for USC to forgive him? Or do you feel that due to the punishment that they received, that he's unforgivable? Let us know in the comment section. Don't forget to like and share the video. Subscribe if you're brand new. My name is FlemLo Raps. I'll holler at you next time.
Yeah, I'm no quitter, 'cause I'ma go again.